Hi guys, welcome back to PBTV and our third CQB lesson. So we've had a look at door clearance, slicing the pie, we've done some T-junction drills and things like that, but we're going to look at today is how you get from A to B. Obviously there's angles that we've covered with the door work and with the T-junction stuff, but actually moving from A to B, so if you were going to do the T-junction all the way down this corridor to a door down there, how do you actually do it as a team? And there's a couple of terminology things to come across, and that's bounding and bumping. So what that means is we've come to essentially a straight corridor. We don't have the perfect scenario here. So what we're doing in this sort of environment is this is a straight wall down on both sides, just to demonstrate how you move as a pair or as a team. So as I've got to this corner and I'm aiming down here, I've got security, so I know what's going on down here. My oppo will come up and touch me, and there are two things that can happen. I can either bound, sorry, I can't bound, my oppo will bound, so I've got security and I know everything's safe. He will touch me, he will then go round me, all the way to here, covering everything, stop, and then move forward as a team. A bump, as it sounds, I've got security here, my oppo will bump me, not as in bump me out the way, but again, a squeeze or a touch, and what that means is I then move to this position. The two reasons why this can happen is obviously I know that this is clear and secure, so I know my oppo can go around behind me, there's nothing here and it's safe. If I want to go across, I can get a better angle on this as he takes that angle and come across, and there's a less chance of flagging and things like that. So a very quick demonstration of that before I put Mike and Ian through it themselves. So if I'm here, we will start with a bound, which is me staying here and Mike going across. So I've got security, Mike comes up, taps me to let me know he's going past. He then goes past, keeps security down there. Once he's got his weapon down range, we will then both start moving and clearing this area, get to the next point, another bound and another bound. So if we then go for the bump version, so again, coming up, I've got security, he comes and touches me, I come across, as soon as I break, his weapon is up, taking my security, I can come across, clear that, to come forward, and then we can step forward and move as we need to do. Very similar to outside with what they call is pairs fire maneuver. There should always be a weapon down, giving security while someone's moving, but in CQB it's a little bit slower, so everyone's weapon can be up. There's no up, you can see me, I'm down, you're always up and you're always moving. So if we get Mike and Ian set up, we'll see if they can, we'll start with bounding first. So what that means is, Ian, you're going to come up, tap him, come round, do the security of the angle. Once your weapon goes down range, you can both step up and move. So if you go from there, so security's up. So yeah. So quick come back. So come back to where you're both in security there. When you come round, what you need to do is obviously weapon up is good when you're going past partners and things like that. But once you get to here, so if you come round, once you get to here, your weapon needs to be down range and then doing the angle. So as you keep coming, your angle changes, your angle changes, your angle changes. And then once you're clear, good, that's clear, your weapon comes down range, and that's an indication that you can both then start moving, yeah? So what happened on yours is you came around and your weapon stayed up, and there was a threat potentially there of that uncleared space that this weapon's up and not doing up. So when you're coming round, weapon up's great because you don't want weapon down behind someone because there's legs and all that. So weapon up is usually better. As you come round and you're in a clear space, weapon goes up, safety's off. Once you're clear with that and the weapon comes forward, that's a visual indicator to then carry on. So if you do that one more time. So security's up, come round, weapon down, clear the angles. Yeah, and then you've got that indicator that as soon as he starts moving, you do it as well. Great, so again, really good. You've covered the angle, swept forward, but then as soon as you see him move, you move as well, yeah? So you keep in that sort of threat space. You don't want him moving into a space that's uncleared, and again, you don't want to be left in an uncleared space, so you keep moving very similar at the same time. There's nothing wrong with moving one at a time. It's a great practice, but, because again, outdoors, pairs fire maneuver, and all that stuff. So if we reset, and what we'll do is we'll do the bump variant of this. So again, you're going to basically do what he did, but straight across. So you still need to slightly cover that angle, because you've already kind of cleared this. You know that that's a wall. You can clear that angle, step across, and as soon as your weapon is up and pointing down range, you know that you can move. The main thing with this one is as soon as he breaks that cover, your weapon needs to be down range because his weapon is going to be off the threat that you're going towards, yeah? So security's up. As soon as you touch him, nice, yeah. And then move in, great, yeah. Yeah, spot on that one. Only thing, again, it's just titivating and not really things because you have cleared the security and you're coming round, is breaching muzzles of, it's just simple things. Once you get used to your weapon and you're doing it, it's habit because a static shooting position is like this. It's perfectly fine to shoot like this, but in an environment where someone could grab a weapon, no one's going to do it in airsoft, so it doesn't really matter, but it's just habit, is don't put a weapon around a wall because some sites could say gun hits count, they start shooting your weapon, things get damaged, or you've got a suppressor on it, and then you turn and bang it. So if you can be away from the wall, you shallow in them angles. It's just a little bit better. So we'll run that one more time very quickly. So security's up, touch, bumps across, nice, and then weapon goes forward and you both move. Nice, nice and easy. So again, these can be, it's very sort of basic in this clean, straight environment, but you can see that happening in any kind of position, even outdoors, as long as one person's weapon is downrange, either if they're firing, if they're not firing. Obviously, airsoft, you can pre-fire to your heart's content, and cover and concealment's very different. Obviously, we've got plywood walls and things like that. BBs aren't going to go through them, so it's a very, very different kettle of fish, but you can see how you can sort of cut them threats off and keep that threat downrange there as you're moving, and then you move, and then you move, and then you move. You can get from that T-junction to that doorway that we've talked about before very easily, very fast, and essentially safely. The only thing that you'd sort of add to that in the future is if you've got a third, fourth man, you've got rear security and different things where someone could come to the centre, move down the centre and cover doors and rear security, all sorts of stuff. But as a two-man, great, simple, and sort of quite a simple tactic. We're going to have a little break, and then we're going to look at what if there is a door in the way of when you're doing the door. How to open it, how to frag it maybe, depending on the situation, weak side, strong side, and how to do it in a slightly quieter manner than what you see on TV. So join us in a second. Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of today's lesson, and we're going to look at doors. Obviously we've had a look at previous lessons where we've done slicing the pie, breaching through and moving through, and obviously bounding now and T-junctions. But what if there is an obstacle in the way? And the most common obstacle, sometimes in airsoft, sometimes everywhere else, is a door. Doors have weak sides and strong sides, but your first thing you need to do is assess, does the door go inwards or outwards? Usually quite obvious, everyone's used a door before. We can tell that this is a inward facing door, so that means that the door with the handle on, this side, so it's going to swing that way. This is the weak side, the side that Mike's on here is the strong side. That's not dictating that he's in a strong position, bad position. The weak side means that it is weak on the inside. So when this door opens, it is making that angle the threat. So it's the weaker side. This is the strong side because it's giving me a stronger position to the room because my cover is kept for longer. Very, very simple to sort of assess and decide what's going to happen. The person that is on the weak side of the door needs to do the door work. When you're coming to a door, again, this is more real steel than airsoft. It's not really a problem in airsoft. Is never weapon down, always weapon up. There's a couple of reasons for that. If the weapon is down and you go for a handle and move it and then the door jars or anything, you loose a round off, shoot yourself in your hand, go back to regen, all that kind of stuff. The other reason is to keep the weapon up, is that if when you pull that, it gets jarred or anything, or you see a target, you can still loose a round off, not into the floor, but at someone. In the real world, you've also got a very big baton that you can poke people with. Don't do that in airsoft, you'll get told off. But when you come to a door, obviously we've got no handle here, but the first thing you want to do is actually grab the handle, test it, see if the mechanics works, and see if the door's open. The amount of times people prep at a door, sat there waiting, this and the other, try it, it's locked, right, let's move on. So you test the mechanics and you don't do what they do in the movies and do that. Mainly because you've just told everyone you're there and the door's closed again. So you've benefited nothing from being really cool. So what you want to do when you come to the weak side of the door, I've got Mike on the other side, he's up, ready to go. He's prepping for that access to sort of open itself. And all I do is a slight push. So it gives me time to then come back and see that threat. Whilst that's then opening nice and steady, it means I've got time to get back, get my weapon up and prep and cut. Mike can then see that that door's stopped, so he is now the primary in that room. I can sort of assess and do what we've done previously with slicing the pie, all that kind of stuff that we've taught before, come round. I can then rabbit if I know that there's a wall there. But Airsoft, we have other features as well. Mike has on his belt right now, everyone loves grenades in CQB. Obviously, we've got to this point now where Mike's cleared his side, I've cleared my side, and there's a blind side of the room. We can frag the room. Very easy. The one thing that you don't want to do, especially in Airsoft, is right at the start, we see people try and do this all the time here, is they're sat prepped with the grenade and the door at the same time. You go to do it, you throw it, someone's on the other side, the door stops, it's on the floor, we all get out rather than it being. So make sure you're prepped and ready, clear a primary part of the door. Mike's done his clearing, we've got a blind corner that we can't get to. Bang, everyone's out, we're clear, we can then move. We've done the bounding, we've done things like that, we can keep going. What we'll do is I'll put Mike and Ian on either side of the door. Very quick setup just to see if they can assess the situation of the door and just do a little bit of that intro. We'll then look at other options that we have, because the other thing that you can do with doorways, as you've maybe noticed, is a lot of people like shotguns nowadays. Obviously in the real world you can do the angle breaches and just take the door off, but in Airsoft shotguns have that massive bonus that when that round goes off, it's got 3 or 6 rounds going through. So if you do see that initial threat when that door breaches, bang, you've got a really nice, easy shot rather than a single shot from a rifle. So there's a couple of options there. But what we'll do to start with is, if we want to shut this door, and we'll get Mike on the weak side and Ian on the strong side, and then we'll swap over afterwards. So you're coming up, obviously Ian's got his weapon up, Mike comes to the door, weapon needs to go up, remember? You obviously would check the mechanics if it's there, slight tap, and then what are you doing? As that door's moving, it gives you time to get back, clear that angle, and then Ian would then clear and go in. As you've done with slicing the pie, he's the primary, goes in, and then you can rabbit. Nice and easy, nice and simple. A lot of people get a little bit hung up with doors and things like that. So what we'll do, if we shut the door again, simple, swap sides. And again, we've got Mike doing the security on that angle that's going to come up. Ian comes to the door, we'll check the mechanics. Slight tap, harder tap than that. So if you want to just pull it too. So this is, it'll almost become muscle memory of like doors and things like that, especially if you've played a site multiple times, you know like the weight of doors. But it's that tap that you know it's going to swing at a rate that you know you can step back and it's going to be open by the time you've got that angle on it. So just go for it again. So you've got it up, you can clear. If you're happy, it'd then be Mike's got the priority in the room, so your weapon goes up, or it's a blind corner, frag goes in, it's clear, and then you can bound and you can do everything that you want. Nice, clean, easy, very good. So again, it's quite a quick, simple one when it comes to doors, and again, vice versa on the other side, if you're pulling it to you, it's the same. The only thing you'd have to think about is the weak and the strong side, is you're pulling the door to you, you do have to step out and around, but when you're opening the door and it cracks, as with the weak side, the side that it cracks and gives the threat to, that is the weak side. So when you're pulling it to you, it's all the same. So when you're pulling a door towards you, you can be out here and do the threat. Very, very similar. It doesn't really need going through again, but it's really easy to do. We're going to cover one more thing today, so we'll set up on a window around there. We've done a lot of sort of advancing to target and aggressive and sort of progressive combat stuff when it comes to CQB, but what if you're on the other side of it and you need to be defensive and you want to present a smaller target? Just a little tidbit of what might come in the future. So you've joined us in a minute and we'll be over in the corner in a minute. So guys, a quick tip just to finish today's video is we've done a lot of, again, as we were saying, the advanced to contact and the sort of aggressive part of CQB, but what if you are in the defensive side of it? There are many points where you're going to be propped up on a defensive line, could be a wall, could be a window, could be absolutely everything. Obviously with my weapon, I've got quite a low mounted optic, so if I take a knee and I'm propped up, sat, waiting and ready, I've got a muzzle distance from here to here. It's about an inch, it's not much. There's nothing wrong with squatting down and angling the weapon just a little bit. Especially in CQB, engagements aren't going to be more than 5 or 10 feet. Hop's really not going to take effect. Doesn't sound like much, especially on this, but when we look at other weapons, we've got Mike's weapon here. He's got an EOTech and a riser. So again, look at the muzzle to where his dot is. Dropping it, it changes it massively. And then all the way to Ian's with his massive riser. A lot of these become really, really popular because of cheek welds. But if I come down here and I want to be able to aim down my dot, look at how much I'm presenting. There's nothing wrong with coming down like this. You've got the same angle and everything. And I've taken from there to there, from there to there. So you're halving that presentation. It might not sound like much, but if I'm taking an inch, 2 inches off what is presented as a target, it is halving what is essentially going to be hit by a BB. Does not really matter about doing this. You're not shooting 20, 30 meters where the BB is going to go. Might be wanted. You might want to shoot around corners, but at the engagement range at CQB, it's perfectly acceptable to keep yourself in a more defensible situation. So if that's everything for today, thank you very much for watching. We're going to continue doing these, maybe look at some more defensive tactics, and maybe even start looking at outside capabilities as well, in woodland scenarios, LMGs, snipers, various different things. But if that's everything today, I'll catch you in the next one.